Me++ is an exploration of data ethics specifically designed for the computing classroom on how we can understand and raise awareness of data ethics for this cohort. The use of arts-based practices and also immersive technologies to draw on post-pose estimation and EEG brainwave data to collect large biometric data sets. We use Ballet and compare that to a programming language, and it's really important that we think of this data as a humanized data. It's an interconnected network or meshwork, if we draw on Ingold's work, of how all of these elements are drawn together. And one important part that we draw on in this particular paper is the role of the individuals sharing their biometric data, how they feel, and how we can translate those personalized experiences and stories to those actually using, manipulating, and modifying those data sets that they share. There are many different ways that we collect this biometric data. One is the emotive headset, the Insight, which has 5 channels, and we use the Emotive Pro software both on mobile and on desktop, and we translate this into visualized data visualizations using Unity or Blender. So these are tools that are used in the actual K-12 classrooms. The data set from the brainwave data are converted into a standard CSV file, which is useful for both the classroom developers and also to understand for the participants who are not technologists. The video of the data waves is the Insight Emotive Pro software running live during this particular online intermediate ballet class, with the video showing my particular instructor. As you can see from the movements, they are non-traditional but they are specific to ballet. Our arms and legs, head and body positions are not standard that are used in post-pose estimation dataset training. The artifacts that you can see in the brainwave graphs show the motion and movement, and this actually adds to the complexity of cleaning the data if you were using it from a neuroscience perspective, but not if we're using it from an artistic or computer science programming perspective in order to explore data ethics. We can see here Kandinsky's curves converted into the similar look for post-pose estimation skeleton tracking.
The way it sort of does the pose itself is it separates you into a top half and a bottom half, which means that if you walk behind a table, then your top half still remains accurate and recognized correctly, kind of thing. Or, you know, vice versa, if part of your upper body is occluded, it can figure out where your legs are. It does assume that you have one of either both arms or both legs. Still haven't managed to solve the fact that ballet dancers don't make conventional movements. It's awesome from like a data ethics and a research, because like when you jump, it's trained to jump like your knees go out a little bit, which is what you would do if you weren't performing.
Additional challenges with this project were due to COVID and the restrictions placed on data capture and generation. This required us to research and develop new tools enabling us to collect the biometric data from a distance and also in a virtual digital environment. As Alex has previously mentioned, the post-pose estimation models are generally trained on non-ballet performers, with the ankle articulation raising up and down in a further degree than a normal foot, and also the full leg going above the shoulders closer to the head. This has meant there have been many errors which enable us to discuss these in the computing classroom and also for dancers dancing with technology in their studio classes. Aside from the technical aspects, we're looking at this idea of Me++, the data self versus the real or the human selves, and how the sharing of biometric data sets to other individuals and actually attaching their personalized stories to how the individual feels on capture, on modification, and on sharing those data sets will allow classrooms and dance studios to explore data ethics in a more humanized and post-humanist way.